You could say we had a good thing going. At least, that's what I used to believe. Emily and I had been married for almost 7 years. We weren't perfect, but we were solid. I worked as a civil engineer, clocking in 50 hours a week, and Emily ran a modest blog about lifestyle and travel. We didn't have kids yet. That was the plan after our trip to Greece next summer, her dream destination. She was the wanderer, I was the builder. A good balance, I thought. But balance, I've learned, is delicate. It doesn't take much to tip everything over. It started with brochures. Glossy, colorful pages on the kitchen table, all stamped with the logo of a boutique travel agency called Lucid Voyages. I remember teasing her about it. "Planning our trip without me?" I said. "I just stopped by after lunch with Carla," she replied nonchalantly, flipping through a Bali package. "You know, just to get ideas." The manager, she told me later, was helpful. His name was Owen Maddox. A bit too suave for my taste, judging by the business card she left by the toaster. It had that glossy, embossed kind of charm that screamed, "I use words like curate and bespoke." I should have seen the signs. Emily started going out more. Lunches that turned into dinners, coffee dates that lasted suspiciously long. She said she was growing her blog, meeting with industry contacts. And I wanted to believe that. She'd been trying to get sponsorships for over a year, and maybe she finally found a breakthrough. Then came the perfume. It wasn't hers. Not the floral, subtle kind she wore. This was musky, bold, expensive in a way that made you raise your eyebrows. I smelled it when I hugged her one evening, and she flinched slightly. I didn't say anything then. Just stored the moment away, like a mental screenshot. The first real crack showed up in the form of an email. She forgot to log out of her account on the home computer. I wasn't snooping. I really wasn't. I was trying to print blueprints for a project when her inbox opened automatically. Owen Maddox. The name hit me like a punch. I clicked. I wish I hadn't. "Last night was incredible," one of them read. "You make me forget everything." There were more. Coordinated meetings during the afternoons, hotel confirmations, even talks about running away. I read every word like I was holding a bomb, unable to defuse it, yet unable to look away. That night, I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, waiting for the morning light to offer some kind of clarity, some kind of next step. But it didn't. It just made things more real. I confronted her 2 days later. Not out of rage. I wasn't ready for rage. I needed answers, not explosions. She sat across from me at the dining table, fingers nervously tracing the edge of her glass. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she said quietly. "Is it still happening?" I asked. She hesitated. "Yes." The silence between us felt like a chasm. That was the moment I knew my marriage wasn't cracked, it was broken. "He understands me," she added, as if those words justified the betrayal. "He listens. He's passionate about travel, and I'm not?" I asked, my voice lower than I intended. "Because I go to work? Because I don't quote Rumi in every sentence?" She didn't answer. That night, she packed a bag and said she needed space. Maybe I should have begged her to stay. Maybe I should have thrown her out. But I did neither. I just let her go. And as the door closed behind her, the silence that followed was louder than any argument we could have had. It had been 4 weeks since Emily left. She texted once. Just once. Something vague about needing time to sort herself out and figure out what happiness really means. I didn't respond. I couldn't. Not out of spite, but because I didn't have the words. Not yet. In those weeks, I moved through my days like a ghost in my own life. Wake up. Go to work. Come home to silence. The house still held her presence. In the books on the shelf, the mug that said, "Travel far," on the kitchen counter, the faintest trace of her perfume on the couch cushions. But I never touched any of it. Not because I was waiting. I think I just needed proof that she'd actually been here at all. Then, on a rainy Thursday afternoon, my phone buzzed with a notification from the hotel chain we used for vacations. A receipt, emailed to the account we once shared. Room 408. Lucid Voyages corporate discount. 2 guests. 1 king bed. 3 nights. It was Owen. It was always Owen. This wasn't a lapse. This wasn't a mistake. She wasn't sorting herself out. She was checking into Love Nest Suites on his company discount. Something in me snapped, not in a blaze of fury, but with a calm finality I didn't know I was capable of. That evening, I packed a box. Not of her things, but mine. Old photos. Our wedding invitation. A copy of her favorite travel book with her notes in the margins. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't even hurt. I was done. The next day, I stopped by Lucid Voyages under the pretense of planning a solo trip. I wanted to see him, this man she risked everything for. Owen Maddox was exactly as I pictured. Smug smile, turtleneck under a blazer, and the kind of handshake that lingered too long. When I told him my name, something flickered in his eyes. Recognition. Guilt? No. Just annoyance. Like I was an interruption in his perfect day. I was looking to plan something final, I said, voice calm. He smirked. We specialize in new beginnings. Good, I replied. Because I'm here to end something. He got the message. I left without another word, without anger, without satisfaction. Just clarity. That night, I sent Emily a short email. You once said he made you forget everything. I hope you remember that when the excitement fades and reality sets in. The house will be sold. Papers will arrive next week. I'm not angry. Just done. Be well. 3 days later, she replied. I never wanted to hurt you. I still don't know what I was searching for. Maybe it wasn't Owen. Maybe it was just something different. But I know I lost the one person who never gave up on me. I'm sorry. That was the last I heard from her. I signed the divorce papers 2 weeks later. It's been 6 months now. I've traveled more than ever, not to escape, but to discover. Myself mostly. Turns out, you don't need to fly across the world to figure out who you are. Sometimes you just need to be alone in a quiet room and finally listen to the silence. Emily chased wanderlust. And she found it. I found something better. Peace.